That trip follows President Obama's three-day visit to Cuba. He called for a future of hope during a speech to the Cuban people. And it sparked discussion about some sensitive topics that continue to divide both countries. CCTV's Michael Voss joins us live from Havana. And Michael, how have Cubans been reacting to this visit?
Elaine, it's no exaggeration to say this was truly a historic visit, closing another chapter on what's been one of the most dysfunctional relationships of the last half a century. There are still plenty of disagreements. There were clashes over human rights and complaints about the trade embargo in Guantanamo. But US President Barack Obama, Cuba's President Raul Castro are committed to dealing with this through engagement. And it's a visit which everyone here is still talking about. From the warmth of the initial handshake to sharing the excitement of a baseball game, this was a trip full of symbolism for the start of a new era.
I have come here to bury the last remnant of the Cold War in the Americas.
We joined the Cuban family as they watched President Barack Obama deliver his much-anticipated speech on Cuban television. He included calls for political and economic reforms, including internet for all. It received a mixed reaction.
President Obama seems a very spontaneous, sincere person. I think one way or the other, his speech has reached the Cuban people.
Young Cubans don't have internet, not because the revolution doesn't want it, but because of the blockade. I do not trust the Americans. I think they still want to take over Cuba, but in a subtle way.
Graphic designer Idania Del Rio has her own shop called Clandestina and is frustrated at the lack of internet. She was one of many Cuban entrepreneurs attending a business forum hosted by Obama and had the chance to voice her views. Information is what we most need, she told him. She hopes that the Cuban government will respond to the US offer to help Cuba expand its internet connections.
For the Cubans to be in the global marketplace, we need internet. Otherwise, we won't be there.
It wasn't just President Obama's speech which has caught people's attention. A lot of Cubans were surprised to see their president, Raul Castro, taking tough questions at a press conference. Castro was asked about political prisoners in Cuba. Give me their names, a list, and I'll free them tonight, he responded.
To see him facing the international press at his age with those kind of questions, I felt tense watching it.
He was ready for anything. He knew how to defend himself.
The historic visit may be over, but it's an encounter very few Cubans will ever forget. Michael Voss, CCTV, Havana. Most Cubans were born after the revolution and have only ever known a Castro in power, and for millenniums, they've only ever been led by old men. So many people found this close-up view of a young, dynamic Barack Obama quite refreshing. Elaine.
So, Michael, we've seen a lot of loosening in the past year, some changes. So what comes next here between U.S. and Cuban relations?
Well, at one level, there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes on areas of mutual interest. Counter-narcotics, the environment, marine safety. There is a lot of work going on where they can work together. I think the interesting thing from Cuba is the upcoming Communist Party Congress, which 5 years ago approved all the changes for people to be self-employed and a private sector. Everyone's waiting to see now, are they going to go further along the economic route, and also perhaps some changes in terms of the political system and the voting system. That's what people are looking for here now.